Hi, welcome. I am Frankie. I am part of the Camp Out Connecticut team. I am really excited to be here with you today on Facebook Live and see all of our camp friends. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen, so like usual, hi Shannon, it's so nice to see you. As usual, I love to cook. That hasn't changed since the last time. And I was hoping to share a recipe with you all today, and we can enjoy it together. What we're going to make today is peanut butter bars. It is a no-bake recipe. We won't be using a stove or an oven. We will be using a microwave. And we'll use some other supplies, which you can see here on our list. And then we'll also, so it's hopefully a pretty simple recipe. We're gonna make our bars first, and then we're gonna make some frosting to go along with it to put on top. This recipe does include an hour of refrigeration, which unfortunately I can't be here with you for the whole hour, but really excited to show you what it'll look like at the end when you get a chance to take a look later and get to enjoy it in an hour. But hopefully this recipe is really kid-friendly enough for everybody so that anybody can make it, and whether it's an 8-year-old with the help of their parents or you as an adult who's coming to hang out with us today. So we're first going to go over the supplies list. First we're going to wash our hands, then we'll go over the supplies list, which you can see here, then our ingredients list for both the bars and the frosting, and then we're going to put it all together, and then we'll taste some as well to do that. So I'm just going to see if anybody has any comments, and Katie Grace says hi. Dawn! Hi, Dawn. So nice to see you. Hi, Rebecca. Really excited to see you all, and thank you so much for being here and being with me. So the first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands. I was trying to remember the song that our medical team sang, and I cannot remember what it is. But I do know the important part is to use soap and water, and for 20 seconds. So we're going to do Happy Clean Hands, because that's the song that I remember. Happy clean hands for you. 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 So like our medical team said, getting in between the fingers, the fingertips, and the backs of the hands, and all that. Washing those hands. Ooh, very exciting. I'm going to use a nice clean towel here, our same towel that I used before. It's been cleaned, but I always have the same towel here that's just for hand washing, so we make sure that there's clean hands while using it. So as you can see on our supplies list, you can use a small tin or a small dish. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to make it today. I'm actually going to angle my camera down a little bit so hopefully you can see a little bit better. Much better. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. This tin is really great because it like pops open, and this dish is also good as well. If you use a dish like this, you will want to use one of these. I call it a muffin paper because I could not remember what it was called. Apparently it is a cupcake liner. So we're going to use one cupcake liner with this, and this one we're going to grease with butter so that it doesn't stick to the side of the pan. Hi Colby, so nice to see you. We are also going to use measuring cups. I've actually measured most of the things out already for us, but we will be using a 1/4 cup, and we will be using our tablespoons. We'll be using both the tablespoon and the teaspoon of our measuring spoons. We are also going to be using a plastic bag. I know, not the most environmentally friendly, but, and then we'll be using a rolling pin. And then for our frosting topping, we're going to use a wooden spoon. But I was thinking as I was doing this morning, practicing this morning, you could probably use the wooden spoon twice. The rolling pin twice. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to move it forward so you can see our bar ingredients. So our first ingredient that we're going to use is butter. I'm going to talk about a lot of alternatives that you could potentially do at your home if that's better for you and your family. There's a lot of, I've had vegan butter that's just oil-based, but it's a similar texture. This butter is softened. Either one would be great for your recipe. It's peanut butter, and of course we know lots of people who have peanut allergies, and that doesn't work for a lot of people. But of course there are butter alternatives like sun butter and almond butter, so those are great options as well. And then we have we're gonna do a little vanilla extract just for taste and flavor. And then we have chocolate chips. We're gonna want these melted, so I'm gonna put these in the microwave now for a minute so they'll melt while we're talking. Hopefully that's not too loud for you all. And we're gonna use confectioner sugar. Confectioner sugar and powdered sugar are pretty similar. They're all types of sugar cane, except they're more finely ground than your typical table sugar. And then our secret ingredient, Cheerios. So Cheerios, we're using a cup and a half. I think this is actually a cup and a half of Cheerios. And what we're gonna do, and this is why we have the rolling pin out, is to actually make them into, hi Dan. I would love to work in the kitchen. I love cooking. What we're going to do is actually roll this out into like a fine powder, and then we're going to add that. We're going to put it in the plastic bag, roll it out in the plastic bag, and then make a fine powder. So you can do this with a lot of items. I'm going to grab our chocolate chips while they're hot. Be careful when they come out of the oven. It's very hot. Not oven, microwave. But there's a lot of alternatives you can use. I basically had Cheerios, and I knew I needed something ground to make our bars a little more solid. You could use graham crackers, vanilla wafers. If you were gluten-free, you could use Rice Krispies as well. You just want to get that ground consistency. You might need to change the amounts depending on how it turns out, because the cup and a half of whole Cheerios is maybe not the same ground as Rice Krispies, but it would be a fun thing to try, and we'd love to hear about it. You can write Dear Camp at holeinthe-wall-gang.org if you have new camp ideas, new alternative ideas for this. All right, so we're going to get started. We are going to grab our small bowl. Oh, I'm going to show you the ingredients we're going to use for the frosting. I'll show you those now since I have those up. It's a lot of the same ingredients. So for our frosting later, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, because this doesn't have enough chocolate chips in it. And then for our little topping, we're just using, it's basically a teaspoon of peanuts crushed up. It's just a fun topping. We could talk about other great topping ideas. Hi, Kayla. Lots of love to Kayla, your Camp Out Connecticut team. All right, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see this a little bit better. Hopefully you can all see this. And I'll try to tip it out so you can see it a little better. So the first thing we're going to do is add our butter. I'm originally from the South, and I love butter. So I know some of my other Camp Out colleagues, team members really like butter too, just like me. Glad to know I'm not the only one on the team. Like butter a lot. I'm going to try to do a good job of not leaving all my dishes. So when we mix our peanut butter and our butter together, you can also use chunky peanut butter. I happen to have creamy peanut butter, so that's what I used. The main thing is just to not end up with chunks of butter at the end. So we want to try to make it nice and smooth. And we'll try to, can you see it? Tip it up just a little bit. Tip it down just so. There you go. All right. Hot that up so you can see that. All right. So we have our nice, smooth peanut butter mix. It smells very peanut buttery. And I'm going to take it back up just a smidge. Katie Grace, love me some butter. Butter. So do you have any camp songs that peanut butter makes them think of? There is a camp song that I'm very not good at lyrics to songs. I've never been good at lyrics to songs. So I know like one line, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat. And then I don't know anymore. Just a dash of vanilla extract, just for a little flavoring. Just a dash. So this recipe, one thing I forgot to mention, this recipe is really just for a couple of these peanut butter bars. So I'm really only going to make two. The amount that I've made is just for two of these. If you're doing muffin tins, so if you're going to do 4 that are this size, you end up making about 4. If you were going to do this size, you probably are going to end up with just 2. So this is a very small portion recipe, so that if you wanted to not make a huge mess in your kitchen and have just a little bit of flavor, that would be great. We're going to add our chocolate chips next, since they're nice and hot and gooey. Chocolate. Does make you like the bottle, doesn't it? Thin cup. But we're not going to do that, especially if we're going to share with our friends and keep cooking. So again, we're going to try to make it nice and smooth. This part is pretty easy because the chocolate's melted after 1 minute. Everybody's microwave is going to be a little different, but mine works pretty well with 1 minute on the chocolate chips. A 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. And then, yeah, so that's that. That's our batter. And then we're going to slowly add in some powdered sugar. Our powdered sugar is going to make it almost like a paste pretty quickly because it's just more solid. I tried it the other day. I tried this recipe the other day without as much sugar, just to see, because it's a pretty sweet recipe. And just didn't make the mark with a little bit less sugar. So we're going to keep adding sugar. Just a little bit. Let's try. It does take quite a bit of little muscle here when we're doing this. This is a cute little spoon, wooden spoon that I have. Hopefully I don't break it while I'm here cooking with you all. It's a bamboo spoon so that I can bring it with me. It's also a great little spoon for cooking little batches of things. And then, okay, so the next thing we're going to do the Cheerios. This is really my favorite part of this recipe because we get to like exert a little bit of energy in this recipe. So our cup of Cheerios, cup and a half of Cheerios will go in a plastic bag. You could do this in some alternative ways if you didn't want to use a plastic bag. I did try pressing it with a measuring cup, or if you, oh my gosh, it's inside out. My plastic bag is inside out because I washed it and reused it. I try not to use too many plastic bags. Anyway, so we're going to roll it out. You could also use a wooden spoon and probably do this if you didn't have that. It's just like a nice hard surface. I like using the rolling pin. It gets out some energy. So we're just going to see that the Cheerios are crunching away here. Kind of a satisfying noise. Press them down. Ugh. It's going pretty well here. All right. Pressing. Rolling out our Cheerios. Does destroy a plastic bag pretty quickly by doing this stuff. think it's good enough. So we have a bit of a fine powder. I'm going to go over it just one or two more times just to make it a little more fine. And again, there's lots of alternatives that we could do. Oh, peanut butter jelly, rolling in a rolling pin. Ah, I love it. So cute. Peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly on a baseball bat. Yeah, sorry. This is why I'm not leading a sing song. No, on Facebook Live. I do not know the lyrics to songs. All right, so I'm tired. I'm ready for my nap now. Okay, so we have a pretty fine powder. It is a lot smaller looking now too, and we're going to pour it into our bowl. Peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly. Yeah. So as we mix, it's going to get a little more solid and a little more stiff than it was earlier. And that's great. It's going to become a little more solid. And then we can, oh, you know what we didn't do? I forgot to grease this. So let's grease this while I think about it. I'm going to get a paper towel to grease this. All right, so we want to grease this. This is pretty non-stick, to be honest, and the pop-out feature makes it a great option for our peanut butter bars, but adding a little bit of butter and grease is just a little extra helpful, so that is helpful in popping it out. I did try to do this in a mug, and after the refrigeration period, it got quite stuck at the bottom. Even with quite a bit of butter on the bottom. So if you have better success, please let me know. And let me know what your trick is. That would be great. Okay, so now we're ready. So we've greased this, and we have our muffin tin in this one. So we're going to fill these up. So when you're doing it with a muffin tin, you don't want to fill it above the line of the muffin tin. And we want to leave a little bit of space for our frosting as well. So that our frosting doesn't go over the edge. And when the frosting gets cold, then the frosting will, the thing with the frosting is that it will be a hard shell on top and therefore make it really hard to get the bar out. You could also do this recipe in a bigger batch if you wanted, if you were looking for something for a bigger group of people and not just like that afternoon snack for yourself. So I filled this one up. I'll show you what that looks like. So it's hard to see, but it's not quite filled to the top so that we can fill it. And we want to try to make it as flat as possible. It's a little hard. So a muffin tin would be a great thing to use with this. And you don't have to use the whole muffin tin, but you can fill it as much as you want. And that's what I did earlier today. So. All right, so now we're going to fill this one. And this one's nice because you can actually see this a little bit better. And then you can see the filling of this one a little bit better than the other cup. So I'm going to try to pat it down. It's kind of sticking to my fork, my spoon. And then pat it in. It's all nice and even, flat. As flat as possible. And we're ready for our next step. We're going to just put these aside and make our frosting, and then come back. So, all right. So our frosting. So we have our 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. We have our 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. And we have a couple little almonds. I'm going to put the chocolate chips again back in the microwave. We're going to put them back in the microwave so they can melt again. I'm going to use this dish here for that. And while I'm melting that, we're going to crunch up our peanuts. So you have just a little bit of peanuts. And I'm actually just going to use this cutting board for our surface. And what I do is I just take my wooden spoon. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you could use a rolling pin. I don't know, I didn't think about that earlier, but I'll put two. And you're just going to put some pressure on peanuts. And these peanuts are really just for like an added decoration, added flavor, just like a little funness on the top. I was thinking the other ingredient that could be really great as a topping would be a banana, a frozen banana on top. And I'm wondering if there's other ideas that you all had. I was trying to think of like what else goes with peanut butter. I'm realizing like peanut butter is like fantastic, but what does it go with? I know that not everybody likes peanut butter. It's not fun for everybody, but lots of people do like peanut butter, and it can go with lots of things. So if you have ideas, I'd love to hear them. So I have our chocolate chips that are nice and melted, and the bowl is hot, so be careful. And then I'm going to add our peanut butter, and we're going to make a frosting just with these two ingredients. I'm going to get my spoon. And put these together. I think I'm going to add the peanut butter to the chocolate chips. It seems like a little bit easier to do. We're going to mix it up. So it smells yummy peanut butter. And all right, so now we get to top our my dirty dishes over here. Oh, my dirty dishes. There. Get to put the frosting. And then this one, hopefully you can see this better. Really sorry, the smoke alarm is going off. I'm going to put you on mute for a moment. I'm so sorry. We're not cooking. I don't know why the smoke alarm is going off, but it stopped, so that's good. Anyway, so we're putting our frosting on this one. We want to try to get it to the edge, just to like fill it as much as possible. It's kind of hard. I did try cooking it for a little bit longer, and of course the longer you cook it, the more liquidy it becomes. I also tried it with the peanut butter, and that works pretty well too, cooking them both together so they're super liquidy. Of course, it was slightly hard to handle. It was slightly hard to handle because the cup was very hot. So these look pretty good. All right, so now we get to do our decorations. I'm going to angle this down a little bit better so you can see it. So this is what our top looks like, and this is what this one looks like, so you can see that alternative idea. And we're just going to put our little decorations on top. And if you didn't want the peanuts on top, then that would be okay too. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the fridge and bring out a couple that I made earlier today, and so we can try them together. And I can tell you what they're like. All right, so I made this one just about an hour ago, right before I came on with you all. I did this with my friend Katie Grace earlier. And then this one I made yesterday. So the thing that I find, you should put it in the refrigerator for about an hour. The nice thing about the hour time is that it's cold enough so that it's solid. It's cold enough that it's solid, but it's not so hard that you're going to break your teeth. And that's a little bit the problem with when they sit in the fridge for too long, is that they become a little too solid. So these are what they look like. And I use the muffin tin or the cupcake liner for them. Put on the other knife. This is better than putting the knife. So this is the one I just made. And then this is the one that we made a couple days yesterday. Oof. So this one's a little more friendly too. Interesting. We're going to try this one. It's really yummy. I really like peanut butter and I like chocolate, and it's delicious. So many ways to make this as an alternative process, whether you want to use sunflower butter or use Rice Krispies instead of gluten, instead of the Cheerios. Lots of things to find in your house that you can use as replacements for this recipe. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I hope you get to enjoy this recipe if you so choose, and we'd love to hear about it. So thanks so much for being with us today on Make It Monday. And Wednesday, we'll have Wacky Wednesday coming up on Wednesday with our hop team. Thanks so much for being here today. We're missing you lots and lots at camp, and we're sending you lots of love. Thanks so much for all your support. We love you.